Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be reading James the Giant Peach from the book. Typically I've been reading it from the online book and showing you the words, but today I want you to sit back, listen, and sit in a comfy spot just like you would in the classroom, and just listen to my voice read you chapter 24. If you don't remember, we left off where the Bugs and James are on top of the peach and they just got the seagulls to lift them in the air because the sharks were about to attack the peach. And then below them was the Queen Mary's ship that had the officers of the Queen on it, and they were very confused what the peach was in the sky. Okay, let's get started. On the peach itself, everyone was still happy and excited. I wonder where we'll finish up this time, the earthworm said. Who cares? They answered. Seagulls always go back to land sooner or later. Up and up they went, high above the highest clouds. The peach swaying gently from side to side as it floated along. Wouldn't it be a perfect time for a little music? The ladybug asked. How about it, old green grasshopper? With pleasure, my dear lady, the old green grasshopper answered, bowing from his waist. Hooray! He's going to play for us, they cried. And immediately the whole company sat themselves down in a circle around the old green grasshopper musician, and the concert began. From the moment that the first note was struck, the audience became completely spellbound. As for James, never had he heard such beautiful music as this. In the garden at home on summer evenings he had listened many times to the sound of grasshoppers chirping in the grass, and he had always liked the noise they made. But this was different, a different kind of noise altogether. This was real music, chords, harmonies, tunes, and all the rest. And what a wonderful instrument the old green grasshopper was playing on. It was like a violin. It was almost exactly as though he were playing an old violin. The bow of the violin, the part that moved, was his back leg. The string of the violin, the part that made the sound, was the edge of his wing. He was using only the top of his back leg, the thigh, as he was stroking this up and down against the edge of his wing with incredible skill, sometimes slowly, sometimes fast, but always with the same easy flowing action. It was precisely the way a clever violinist would have used his bow, and the music came pouring out and filled the whole blue sky around them with magical melodies. When the first part was finished, everyone clapped madly, and Miss Spider stood up and shouted, Bravo! Encore! Give us some more! Did you like that, James? The old green grasshopper asked, smiling at the boy. I loved it, James answered. It was beautiful. It was as though you had a real violin in your hands. A real violin? The old green grasshopper cried. Good heavens! I like that, my dear boy. I am a real violin. It's part of my own body, though. Do all grasshoppers play their music on violins the same way you do? James asked. No, he answered. Not at all. If you want to know, I happen to be a short-horned grasshopper. I have two short feelers coming out of my head. Can you see them? They're there. They are quite short, aren't they? That's why they call me a shorthorn. And we shorthorns are the only ones who play our music in the violin style using a bow. My long-horned relatives, the ones who have very long curly feelers coming out of their heads, make their music simply by rubbing the edges of their top two wings together. They are not violinists. They are wing rubbers, and a rather inferior noise are the wing rubbers making, if I say so myself. It sounds more like a banjo than a fiddle. How fascinating this all is, cried James, and to think that up until right now I never even wondered how a grasshopper had made its sounds. My dear young fellow, the green grasshopper said gently, there are a whole lot of things in this world of ours that you haven't started wondering yet. That was our quote from one of the days back. There are a whole lot of things in this world of ours that you haven't started wondering about yet. For example, where do you think that I keep my ears? Your ears? Why, in your head, of course. Everyone burst out laughing. You mean you don't know that? Cried the centipede. Try again, said Green Grasshopper. Where do I keep my ears? You can't possibly keep them anywhere else, said James. Oh, I can't? Well, I give up. Where do you keep them? Right here. One on each side of my tummy, he pointed to his stomach. It's not true. Of course it's true. What's so peculiar about that? You ought to see where my cousins the crickets and the katydids keep theirs. Well, where do they keep theirs? In their legs, one on each front leg, just below their knee. You mean you didn't know that either? Centipede said. You're joking, James said. Nobody could possibly have their ears in their legs. Why not? Because Because it's ridiculous, that's why. You know why I think it's ridiculous, said the green grasshopper and the centipede, grinning. I don't mean to be rude, but what I think ridiculous is to have ears on the side of your head. It certainly looks ridiculous. You ought to have a peek in the mirror someday and see for yourself. Oh, what a pest, the earthworm said to the centipede. Why must you always be so rude and rambunctious to everyone? You ought to apologize to James at once. Chapter 25. James didn't want the earthworm and the centipede to get into another argument, so he got quickly to the earthworm's defense. Tell me, do you play any kind of music? James asked him. No, but I do other things, some of which are quite extraordinary, the earthworm said, brightening. Such as what? Asked James. Well, the earthworm said, next time you stand in a field or in a garden and look around you, just remember this, that every grain of soil upon the surface of the land, every tiny little bit of soil that you can see, has actually passed through the body of an earthworm during the last few years. Isn't that wonderful? It's not possible, James said. My dear boy, it is a fact. You mean you actually swallow the soil? Like mad, said the earthworm so proudly. In one end and out the other. What's the point? What do you mean, what's the point? Well, why do you do it? Asked James. We do it for the farmers. It makes the soil nice and light and crumbly so that things will grow. If you really want to know, the farmers couldn't do it without us. We are essential. We are vital. So it's only natural that the farmers should love us. He loves us even more, I believe, than he loves the ladybugs. The ladybug? Said James. Do farmers love you too? I am told that they do, said the ladybug, answering, modestly, blushing all over. In fact, I understand that in some places the farmers love us so much that they go out and buy ladybugs by the sackful to take them home and set them free in the fields. They are very pleased that they have lots of ladybugs in their fields. But why? Asked James. Because we gobble up the nasty little insects that are gobbling up all the farmers' crops. It helps enormously, and we ourselves don't charge a penny for our services. I think you're wonderful, said James. Can I ask you one special question? Please do. Well, is it really true that I can tell how old a ladybug is by counting her spots? Oh, no, that's just a children's story, she said. We never change our spots. Some of us, of course, are born with more spots than others. But we never change them. The number of spots that a ladybug has is simply the way of showing which branch of the family she belongs to. I, for example, as you can see for yourself, am a 9-spotted ladybug. I'm very lucky. It is a fine thing to be. It is indeed, said James, gazing upon the beautiful scarlet shell with the 9 black spots. On the other hand, the ladybug went on, some of my less fortunate relatives have no more than 2 spots altogether on their shells. Could you imagine that? They are mannered, they are, and of course they are not so bad. But if you have a 5-spotted ladybug, they are much nicer than 2-spotted ones, although I myself find them a little too saucy for my taste. But they are all of them loved by farmers? Yes, Ladybug answered, they are all loved. It seems that almost everywhere you go, everyone around here is loved. How nice is that? James said. Not me, cried the centipede. I'm a pest, and I'm proud of it. Oh, I'm such a shocking, dreadful pest. Hear, hear, said the earthworm. But what about you, Miss Spider? Asked James. Aren't you also much loved in this world? Alas, no, Miss Spider answered, sighing long and loud. I am not loved at all, and yet I do nothing but good. All day long I catch flies and mosquitoes in my web. I'm a decent person. I know you are, said James. And it's very unfair the way spiders are treated, Miss Spider went on. Why, only last week your own horrible Aunt Sponge flung my poor dead father down the plunge hole in the bathtub. Oh, how awful, said James. I watched the whole thing from the corner of the ceiling, said Spider. It was ghastly, and we never saw him again. A large tear rolled down her cheek. But is it not very unlucky to kill a spider? James inquired, looking around. Of course it's unlucky to kill a spider, shouted the centipede. It's about the unluckiest thing anyone could do. Look what happened to Aunt Sponge after she did that. Bump! Well, we all felt it, right? Didn't we? As the peach went over her? Oh, what a lovely bump that must have been for you, Miss Spider. Well, it was very satisfactory, said Miss Spider. Will you sing us a song about it, please? So the centipede did. Me, 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 me. Aunt Sponge was terrifically fat, and tremendously flabby at that. Her tummy and waist were as soggy as paste. It was worse on the place where she sat. So she said, I must make myself flat. Must make myself sleek as a cat. I shall do without dinner to make myself thinner. But along came the peach, oh, that beautiful peach, and made her far thinner than that. Oh, that was very nice, Miss Spider said. Now sing one about Aunt Spiker. With pleasure. Me, 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 me. Aunt Spiker was thin as a wire, and as dry as a bone, only drier. She was so long and thin, if you carried her in, you could use her for poking the fire. I must do something quickly, she frowned. I want fat, I want pound upon pound. I must eat lots and lots of marshmallows and chocs, till I start bulging out all around. Ah, yes, she announced, I have sworn that I'll alter my figure by dawn. Cried the peach with a snigger, I'll alter your figure and iron her out on the lawn. Everyone clapped and called out for more songs from the centipede, who at once launched into his favorite one of all. Once upon a time, when pigs were swine, and monkeys chewed tobacco, and hens took snuff to make themselves tough, and the ducks said quack, quack, quacko, and porcupines drank fiery wines, and goats ate tobacco, and old Mother Hubbard got stuck in the cut. Look! Cried Centipede. Look! That's it. We'll come back to chapter 26 another day. I wonder what they're looking for.